So, in planning maintenance for a city's infrastructure, civil engineer estimates that starting from the present, the population of the city will decrease by 10% every 20 years. If the present population of the city is 50,000, which of the following expressions represents the engineer's estimate of the population of the city 2 years from now? So they've given us 50,000 all across the board, so that's not debatable. But what they have given us a difference in 0.1 and 0.9. And so it depends, do we want to make the city's population go to 10% of its current value, or do we want it to just decrease 10% and become, instead of 0.1, it'd be 0.9? And that is actually what we want to do, because it wants to decrease by 10%, not decrease to 10%. So we know that it's not A or B. And now the only difference is 20t, 20 times the number of years, or the number of years divided by 20. How many times do we want this to happen, in 20 years? And that, since it says it wants to decrease by 10%, do this every 20 years, once every 20 years. So if we had 1 year pass, t is time in years, so 1 year passes, this equation makes it 20 times 1 year, 20 times in a year. That's not what we want. We want like once for every 20 years, so that when t over here reaches 20 and it's divided by 20, this happens once. So D is the answer we want to go with. This is kind of a logic thing and a word problem issue. All right, let's move on. So, incomplete table summarizes the number of left-handed students and right-handed students by gender for the 8th grade. There are 5 times as many right-handed female students as there are left-handed female students, and there are 9 times as many right-handed male students as there are left-handed male students. So, which is the closest probability that a right-handed student will be selected at random and be female? All right, so in this one they haven't given us basically anything, so they make us work for everything. But we got to get used to that, I guess. So let's start with looking at a system of equations, because they set us up for it. They say, we know that these two numbers added together are going to be 18, and we know that these two numbers added together are going to be 122. So let's set up variables LF, which is left-handed females, right-handed females, these, and then we'll just do left male, right male. Okay, so these are going to be our variables, and they correspond to each of the 4 boxes. And it says there are 5 times as many right-handed female students as there are left-handed female students. So there's 5 times more, like as many left-handed students as there are 5 times more right-handed. So since left-handed female is the lower number, which you can see already, 18 and 122, which is going to be lower, this one. So LF times 5 is going to give us R of F, right? And then they give us a similar situation. There are 9 times as many right-handed male students as there are left-handed male students. So 9 LM equals RM. Sweet. So we've got some equations here. And we can also create equations from this, because we know that this is the total of those two. So, left-handed, so LF plus LM is going to give us 18. And RF plus RM is going to give us 122. All right. So now we've got quite a big system of equations, and we can start substituting. We can go for any one, really, because once we get one, it's going to trickle down like the rest of them. We can figure out all the other numbers, because each one is related to each other at least once. So let's do this bottom one. So this one right here. So RM, this is already ready for us to plug in. See, this is an easy one to do. So 9LM, we can just put in there. So 9LM, 122, and then RF, we have that there. So 5LF Alright, and now that we've got those, we can either substitute something in for LF or LM. And let's go with, let's do the LF, because 5 times something is better than 9 times something. It's easier to do. So that's going to be 18 equals, or whoops, 18, sorry. So this is going to do a minus that, and so just cross this out and do minus LM. Alright, 18 minus LM is LF. So now, come down here, 5 times L, what is it, 5 times, and then instead of LF, we're going to plug in this, so 18 minus LM plus 9LM equal to 122. And now we can distribute this, so 5 times 18, that comes out to be 90 minus 5LM plus 9LM, sorry, I'm getting cockeyed here, my bad, equals 122. And we simplify this, so that's 4LM plus 90 equal to 122 minus 90 minus 90, so that's going to give us 32 equals 4LM. Great, now divide both sides by 4, and we get LM is equal to 8. So the number of left-handed males is equal to 8. Let's come back up here and start writing things. LM is 8. So 9 times LM 8. 9 times 8 is 72. Right-handed males is 72. RF. Let's see. So we can plug that into this one over here. So LM 8. 18 minus 8 is 10. So LF is 10. And then 5 times 10 is 50. So that's 50. So now we have all the numbers we could fill in, but all it wants to know is which of the following is closest to the probability that a right-handed student is selected at random is female. The right-handed students, there's 122 of them. So first of all, we're going to divide by 122. And then right-handed student, the chance that it's female. So how many female right hands are there? 50. So we do 50 divided by 122. And we're going to get 0.409. And one of our answers happens to be very close to that, so we'll go with that one. Alright, let's keep moving. Right, so we're given a system of equations, and in the equations above, b and c are constants. If b is c minus 1/2, which of the following is true? So they're giving us the system of equations, and then they kind of spelled one out for us. B is c minus 1/2. So b equals c minus 1/2. So we'll use that up here. So we want to relate, see the answers are x is y minus something. So we want to relate x and y. And in order to do that, since these are both in terms of BC and they're not in terms of x and y, we want to start substituting things in. We have a nice opportunity to do so right here. B is already equal to something. So we can just plug this into this value. So 3x, I'll just go ahead and put it in, 3x plus c minus 1/2, see I'm just putting that right there, is equal to 5x minus 7. Alright, so now we can get rid of some constants, so that's plus 1/2, plus 1/2, so that's going to be 5x minus 6.5 is equal to 3x plus c. Whoopsie. Alright, and then we can the best way to do this is going to be to move this 3x over there, because then we're going to have a c value that we can substitute into that equation. So let's go ahead and do minus 3x, so that we get that down to 2x. So it's going to be c equals 2x minus 6.5. And now we can plug that c in. I'll move up here. Plug that c in for that 3y equation. So 3y plus, and the c was 2x minus 6.5. It's equal to 5y, getting close here, plus 7. Whoopsie. Alright, just a visual thing. I'll correct that in PostScript. So, let's get x and y on one side. And in fact, what we really want to do is get x on one side, because we have x is, and that's like x is equal to y minus something, 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 y plus something. So, we'll just subtract 3y for both sides. So minus 3y, and we're also going to add 6.5. So, oh, sorry, that is not a 5y plus 7. That is a 5y minus 7. Important, signs can mess you up pretty badly. So, 2x equals 5y minus 3y. It's going to be 2y. And then negative 7 plus 6.5. That's just going to become minus 1/2. Minus 1/2. And then, to get that x alone, because our answers are all x's alone, we'll divide everything by 2. So then that's going to give us x equal to y minus, and then 1/2 divided by 1/2 is the same as 1 divided by 2 times 2, which is minus 1 over 4. Y minus 1/4. So now, one of our answers just happens to be x is y minus 1/4. So, in this case, you do have to look at your answers and see where you want to go with this. But you could just, start substituting, and eventually you get to a point where you start to see something that looks like the answers, and you go from there. Alright, next problem. So, tickets for a school talent show cost $2 for $2 for students and $3 for adults. If Chris spends at least $11, but no more than $14 on student tickets, on X student tickets and 1 adult ticket, what is one possible value of X? So, important thing, they tell us already, only 1 adult ticket. And they say, and X is the number of student tickets that cost $2. So, X student tickets times $2 plus, and then it's $3 for an adult ticket, and there's only 1. So, we already know that's 3. And he's going to spend at least 11, so it can be 11, but it can be greater as well, but no more than 14, so it can be 14, but less than that. So, less than or equal to 14, greater than or equal to 11. And now, you can actually double-side this thing, so when you do something to the middle, you can do it to both other sides as well. So, and as the only rule you need to remember is if you multiply or divide by a negative, you need to flop the signs, or flop the directions that it's going. But there's no negatives here, so we're pretty good. We won't have to do anything like that. So minus 3 to both sides, so that's 14, 13, 12, 11. Less than or equal to 11 equals 2x, and then is that, and 11, 10, 9, 8. Sweet. So now we can get rid of that 2. So we're trying to find the number of student tickets still. So we'll divide by 2. So 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. Less or equal to x. Less or equal to 8 divided by 2 is 4. So x can be 4 all the way up to 5.5. But since we're doing like tickets, you don't want to buy a half ticket. You wouldn't do that. So really, it can only be like whole numbers. And it wants to know one possible value of x. So you could choose 4 or 5. Those are the only options. Next problem. Alright, okay, so that's a lot of numbers. This table lists the ages of first 12 United States presidents when they begin their terms in office. According to the table, what was the mean age in years of these presidents at the beginning of their terms? Round your answer to the nearest tenth. Okay, so it wants to know the mean age of all the presidents. And there's 12 presidents, so we don't even have to do all this counting. We just have to put it all in our calculator. So when you put it in your calculator, I'm going to skip that step for now. You get something like 58.58, and you'll round up, and the answer would be 58.6, I believe. That may be like a little bit off. But all you're going to do is just add up those numbers and divide by how many numbers you added up, which is 12. They've already given you that, but you could count it up if you wanted to. All right.